1919 was an auspicious year in history. The First World War ended, ushering a drastic change in the world order. The Philippine Islands had been a U.S. territory for 2 decades and was promised independence under the Jones Law of 1916. Progressive reformers saw the country and its people as a major target for modernization, and education was its main weapon. 7 forward-looking Filipinas came together in 1919 to create a school where young women could gain the knowledge and skills that would make them modern women. Paz Marquez Benitez was the first president of the Philippine Women's College. Jose Abad Santos was its first chairman of the Board of Trustees. Francisca Tirona Benitez was the second president, and with her husband Dean Conrado, guided the school from a house on A. Flores Street to its iconic Taft Avenue campus. In 1932, the college became a university, making PWU the first university for women in Asia founded by Asians. It provided a space where innovations in education flourished, and young people were encouraged to be the best that they could be. For over 100 years, the Philippine Women's University has been known as a leader in quality education. In 1934, PWU moved into its main campus on Taft Avenue, and since the 1970s has been co-educational. Located in the heart of Metro Manila, it is easily accessible by public transport and surrounded by affordable housing. Today's PWU offers undergraduate and graduate courses in several fields of study. Its business and management programs are responsive to the needs of industry, using evolving technology for global competence. PWU graduates excel in arts and sciences, education, social work, and diplomacy. Its fine arts and music programs have produced outstanding graduates through a holistic education that treasures heritage as well as excellence. PWU has pioneered in fields such as food science, nutrition and dietetics, medical technology, pharmacy, and nursing. PWU continues to play an essential role in producing graduates who possess the skills that make them competitive in the country and anywhere in the world.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to be the MC for today's webinar. My name is Andrew Kevin Nicanor. On behalf of the Guidance Counseling and Testing Office, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all of you. We appreciate all of you taking time off your busy schedule to join us today. As we note the importance of wellness and mental health, and in order to adapt to the new reality, students need to find alternative ways of continuing their daily lives. This requires a paradigm shift in what is considered the normal way of doing things. Today, we will learn some basic skills to strengthen our well-being. For today's transformative learning system entitled #PW Mind Your Health, gearing towards a better normal, is led by the Guidance Counseling and Testing Office in coordination with the Campus Life, ICT, and the Multimedia Center. The target Transformative Learning System core values today focus on wellness as we stress the importance of rest, relaxation, physical, social, mental, and emotional health of the students. I also humbly remind our dear students, for you to receive an e-certificate, please make sure to answer our evaluation forms. Look for the Google link form provided at the end of the webinar. To formally begin our program, please join us with our video prayer and followed by the national anthem. For the opening remarks, it is an honor and timely to have the ever-supportive, loving, and passionate, and as well as the advocate of wellness of PW community. Let's all welcome Ms. Maria Sara G. de los Santos, Program Coordinator of IFLCS, as she delivers the opening remarks.
Good morning, all tertiary students and graduate students. What can we do to make matters better as we are in the new normal? How can we promote a better normal? Let's begin today by focusing our mind and body in the 2-hour activity hosted by our Guidance, Counseling, and Testing Office. We begin in inhaling focus and exhaling distraction. Let me now invite you in a short breathing exercise. For this exercise, you may or you may not close your eyes. Ready? Inhale, focus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, distraction. 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. Inhale, focus. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, distraction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's inhale, focus. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale, distraction. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Feeling better? Feeling refocused? Just focusing on what is important in the now is mindfulness in action. Today's transformative learning system activity entitled #PW Mind Your Health Gearing Toward Better Normal will contain salient session. The first will be CAMustahan, taking care of mental health in the midst of pandemic and the science of happiness. When you hear mental health, what comes to mind right away? Really, how are you taking care of your mental health in the midst of pandemic? Do you? When are you happy? Where are you happy? Really, are you happy? Are we happy? Is being happy important? If these queries come to mind, then it is safe to say that you have a clear intention other than the 5 points we will get in attending today's transformative learning system. We are here because we are giving importance to our mental health and to our happiness. So with Camille as our speaker for today, Miss Camille Huliganga, LPT, and another Miss Camille Milioga, let us learn and with focus today on what they are about to share. So let's enjoy and good morning, everyone.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Sarah, for meaningful, wonderful, and relaxing remarks. So, at GCTO, we always believe that everyone can be a mental health advocate. For our series of webinars, we invited different speakers from different fields. For the first part of our series, we invited dynamic and young crusaders of mental health as we want to start understanding the basics of promoting mental health in new normal. For the first part of our program, may I call Mr. Paulo Gonzalez to introduce our guest mental health advocate speaker.
Good day, everyone. Our first speaker is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Psychology, major in Guidance and Counseling stream from Philippine Normal University. As a licensed professional teacher, and had been working in the same field, she is now continually pursuing a master's degree in early childhood education at National Teachers College. Beside an academician enthusiast, she is also an active member and officer of Youth for Mental Health Coalition, Y4MH. It is a non-profit organization that works to elevate the Filipinos' youth consciousness on mental health and end the stigma on mental illness. With this group, our speaker devoted her time in serving the students and other youth advocates from different local chapters to spread awareness about mental health and the services that the group may provide. In fact, she is currently the Associate Secretary for Internal Affairs of Y4MH. As Associate Secretary, her main duty is to work closely with Vice Chairperson with regards of the schedule and appointments that focus on mental health activities such as pairing or body system, database program, mental health talks, and events. This gave a breakthrough for her to inspire other mental health advocates, especially the youth and students improving the mental health situation in our country. Also, she is an event manager of I Volunteer Philippines, which is a non-profit organization that transforms individuals to become caring and active citizens of our country. Her main duty is to lead I Volunteers community-based projects and external events that will promote volunteerism and engage volunteers. She is also an active member of Project Pearls Philippines, which also help the poorest children and families to have a better life through education, literacy, nutrition, healthcare empowerment, and livelihood. And the Philippine Association for Professional Speakers, POPS-PH, member which is a premier hub of aspiring professional speakers that upholds the holistic development of professional speakers in the country. Her commitment in serving through education and public services became her greatest weapon to touch the lives of other people. Aside from that, she is also a freelance resource speaker in which she gives webinar series about mental health and gender and development, GAD. Without further ado, let us all welcome Miss Camille C. Huliganga.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. First of all, I would like to say thank you for Philippine Women's University for organizing this such wonderful event. Of course, I would like also to take this opportunity for having me as your resource speaker of the day. And let me remind you that I'm a mental health advocate. I'm not a licensed psychologist or a psychiatrist, but all the learnings that I will be sharing with you are based under the trainings of Department of Health, also the local seminars and international seminars that I have attended. So this talk will be all about taking care of ourselves. And of course, it's not about the self-diagnosing part, but it's all about checking how are you and where you are right now. So we may start today. Share my screen.
Thank you everyone for coming here. We will wait for a while.
Siya, girl.
While waiting for the presentation of Teacher Camille, so I think this is the important presentation because we really need right now is somehow to how to take care of ourselves as even faculty, parents, and others. I really need this topic. So, Teacher Camille, are you okay? Can you
Yeah.
present out?
Okay. So yes. Today, we will be having our CAMustahan again and taking care of ourselves in the midst of pandemic. So let's start. Here in our mental health, it says here, a mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses in life, also can work productively and able to make contribution to his or her own community. In Tagalog, mental health is kalusugang pangkaisipan. So mental health, it contributes a lot to our lives, especially on how the way we think, we decide, and we act. So mental health affects our emotional health as well. It's not only taking care of your physical aspect, but also making sure that your mental health is okay. Because without mental health, we cannot execute the things that we needed in our daily lives, especially on how we make a wise decision. So here we have three factors. We have biological, psychological, and social. When we say biological, it's all about our genes, genetics. So mayroon nga sinasabi na it might be that that our mental health may be negative because of the genes factor. When we say psychological, it is the presence of personality disorders, substance related disorders that may come from our family. So the root is always come from the family. When we say social, it is all about the social pressure that we have, socio-economic pressure that we have in our environment, such as violence or human rights, sexual abuse, and then economic hardships. Of course, the adjustment that we have in our society, not only in the society, but also in our school, in our work, related environment. So there are a lot of factors that may affect our mental health. Pero ang sinasabi nga dito is where you are right now. Kamusta na nga ba tayong lahat? How are we dealing with this such kind of pressure that we are having right now? How are we dealing with this kind of economic hardships that we are experiencing right now, especially nowadays? This is pandemic. So how can we reach out? How can we help ourselves? Paano nga ba natin matutulungan yung sarili natin? Paano natin matutulungan yung ating kapwa? Paano natin sila mabibigyan ng importansya? Paano natin maipapakita sa panahon ngayon? There are a lot of ways and a lot of means. Especially nowadays, we are using different kind of social platforms. Meron na dyang Viber, Facebook, there's a lot of means of communication. But before, as we can see, mental health here in the country is being left behind. So ngayon lang talaga siya nagkaroon ng impact sa ating lahat na kaliwat kanan maraming nagto-talk about mental health, what is mental health. And I guess this is the right time already to prove and to show, especially in our country, that mental health is very important. Hindi lang siya yung mental health na pag sinabing mental health, it's just depression. No, it's not. We are breaking the stigma of that. When we say mental health, it's a part of our healthy lifestyle. Dapat maging parte yon, hindi lang siya yung physical that we have to go through an exercise. Of course, our mind needs a break as well. So, in our second slide, it says here, COVID-19 and mental health. How does the COVID-19 pandemic affects our mental health? Last year, there's a statistics that around 6 million Filipinos are already suffering with mental illness, with depression and anxiety. So maybe some of them are not really diagnosed at gayon lang nakita because of what's happening in our environment. And maybe some of them are already diagnosed. We will never know because gaya ng sinasabi ko, when it comes to mental health in our country, parang we have to break the stigma. We are talking in a big wall. So malaking barrier ang meron tayo when it comes to mental health. So there are factors that affects our mental health pagpasok ng COVID-19, and what are those? The first one is high anxiety and causing uncertainty. Of course, dito na papasok yung safety, our security. How can we cope with this kind of situation? May trabaho pa ba ako sa susunod? Higit lalo yung mga taong naapektuhan ngayon na ang daming mga tao na nahihirapang pumasok sa work. For example, our new graduates, yan, yung mga gagraduate pa lang. How are we safe in this kind of environment? Are we gonna have our job after this? What will happen next? So yun yung mga question na normal na pumapasok sa ating isipan. So the next one is managing and overcoming infodemic. When we say infodemic, there are a lot of things that are coming up and popping up in our Facebook account. So ang daming news, ang daming mga issues, kaliwat kanan, ang daming mga pumapasok sa atin na information. Minsan nga ito na yung tinatawag nating information overload eh. So, sa dami ng iniisip ng bansa natin ngayon, sa dami ng mga news at mga negative news na nakikita natin ngayon, hindi na natin alam kung alin yung totoo, kung alin yung tama. So, papasok pa dito yung mga fake news. We don't know what's happening today. So, kung mapapansin nyo, when the COVID-19 hits, ang dami ng pumasok na mga news. Lahat ng tao nasa social media. Lahat ng tao, they are keep on sharing the things that they see in the social media platforms. So, how can we manage and how can we overcome this kind of situation? And maybe, isa kayo sa mga taong naapektuhan sa kung anong nangyayari ngayon sa ating social media. Next, we have loneliness from isolation and quarantine. Of course, for those who are affected by COVID-19, so yung anxiety nila mas tumataas. Lalo na kapag na-isolate sila, nahihiwalay. So there are protocols na talagang nakakapag-trigger sa atin para maramdaman natin yung kalungkutan. Higit lalo tayo sa ating culture that we give importance to our family. Paano kapag umabot yung point na kailangan nating ma-quarantine, lumayo, so that we will be able to help our family just to give them safety, right? So it's very hard and it is a struggle for each and every one of us. Next, economic hardship. As we can see and we all notice, ang daming pinagdadaanan ng ating bansa when it comes to work, when it comes to finances, di ba? May mga topic pa tayo about PhilHealth. So, hindi natin alam kung ano yung nangyayari sa ating bansa ngayon, na ang Pilipinas ay nagkakabaon-baon na sa utang. So, the economic hardship really exists and naaapektuhan yung mga nasa pinakamababang parte ng ating lipunan. So, hindi lamang sila, kahit yung mga middle class na apektuhan din. Then we have maladjustment to work, school, and home environment. So, the best example for this is having an interaction through online. So, before COVID-19 hits in the Philippines, we are already preparing, especially the part of education. Pero yung pagpe-prepare na yun, it took a long process. Because some of us are really not used on how to be here in front of the camera. So, meron pa tayong mga trainings na pinagdaanan in order to have this and cater the students or other clients that we are needed to cater to. So, may mga bagay na ginawa tayong pag-a-adjust, but some of us are still trying to cope up. Okay, it really affects the way how we work, the way how we think, anong mangyayari after this. Okay, so COVID-19 and mental health, it gives a lot of factor when it comes to ourselves. So marami tayong iniisip ngayon, marami tayong pinagdadaanan ngayon. Ang question is, nasaan na tayo? So who are affected by this pandemic? Of course, not only the frontliners, not only our family and friends, but also all of us. All of us are affected by this kind of pandemic. Gaya nga ng sinabi ko kanina na tayo ay nag-a-adjust, maraming nangyayari, kailangan natin ma-overcome yung infodemic, yung mga stresses in our life. But we always remember that all the stresses that we are experiencing right now are all normal. They are normal. The question is, how can we cope? Paano pag hindi na po kaya sa parte ko? Paano pag hindi na siya normal for me? How can I manage this? How will I manage my anxiety, my stress? Again, this talk is not all about in self-diagnosing, but reassessing and checking yourself. Next, who is at risk? So those people that are risk are previously well and previously diagnosed. Okay, so there are two people. So tayong mga hindi pa na-diagnose or not having mental illness or any background of this, and then those who are already having diagnosis with such mental disorders or other kind of disorders that might affect them. So mga previously well, when we say previously well, those are people na nung una okay sila. Pagpasok ng pandemic, hindi na nila alam kung ano yung nangyayari. Na-diagnose na rin sila unti-unti. Of course, when we say previously diagnosed, ito na yung may mga background and may diagnosis ng other illnesses. So, ito yung mga tao na nakakaranas na noon pa man at mas lalong nadagdagan ngayon dahil nga sa ating environment and the pandemic. So, ito yung mga bagay na dapat nating tandaan na hindi lang tayo ang naaapektuhan, pagkos marami pa rin tao ang mga nasa risky situation. Next. So, this is the part that is very important in our topic for today. So, how do we take care of our mental health? Gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, meron na tayong mga taong nasa at risk. So, ito yung mga previously well and previously diagnosed. But the question is, paano po namin mapapangalagaan ang aming kalusugang pangkaisipan? Okay, so the first one is check yourself. Always check yourself. When we say check yourself, it's not only important to check your physical self, but also make sure that you validate your feelings. Okay, always validate your feelings. If you wake up one day that you are not feeling well or sad ka or gloomy or angry, it's fine, it's okay. Hindi naman natin kailangan na every morning we have this vibes na dapat masaya ako. Dapat lagi akong happy para sa ibang tao para magsimula yung umaga ko ng mas maayos. No, it's not. Always validate your feelings, and your feelings is very important. Kahit malungkot ka, kahit masaya ka, nagagalit ka, importante 'yon para sa iyo. How will you check yourself? Love the feeling that you have. Indulge with that kind of feeling. Accept the feeling that you are having right now. You may check yourself by putting it into a journal or writing it down na today I'm not feeling well. Right? So today I am not really good. I'm sad. It's fine. As you can see, as long as you recognize your feelings, it's okay and everything will be okay. The next one is being active. When we say being active, it is important for us as well to move, of course. Yung physical aspect natin, hindi porket pandemic na nag-stay tayo sa bahay, dito lang tayo, uupo, or we are staying in just one place. Make yourself productive. When we say productive, it's not about finishing the task that you want, okay? So when we say productive, something that might help you para mapagaan yung nararamdaman mo ngayon. You can be listening to music, pwede rin yung doing some exercise. Kung gusto mo manood ka ng television, it's fine. Okay, so as long as you are moving, as long as you are capable of doing something, it's okay. Next, being healthy. Of course, be healthy always. Kailangan natin magpalakas, lalo na sa panahon ngayon na nakakaranas tayo ng pandemic. So, we must make sure that we drink a lot of water, kumakain pa rin tayo sa tamang oras, kahit marami tayong trabahong ginagawa, huwag tayong mag-skip ng meal, it's very important. Nakakaapekto yun sa ating pag-iisip, sa ating katawan. Higit lalo yung mga taong kung nararanasan nyo na nakakapag-skip kayo ng meal, tapos mamaya hindi na kayo magugutom. So kailangan, make sure that you always have a routine. For example, at like 12 o'clock, it's your break time, right? So, When it's your break time, grab your lunch. Don't skip. Always drink water. Of course, eat fresh fruits and vegetable. Para rin sa atin yun. Next, keep in touch. When we say keep in touch, always talk to your friend, to a loved one, to your family. Ito yung part ng ways of taking care of our mental health na pinakamahirap. How do we keep in touch with the other person? How do we open up? Gaya nga ng sinabi ko, if you validate your feelings, mas madali para sa ibang tao at mas madali para sa iyo na i-brought up kung anong nararamdaman mo sa ibang tao. Next, ask for help. If you are experiencing something that is not really normal or not good to you, if you are feeling sick, feeling unwell, ask for a professional help. Always ask them. Huwag kayong matatakot. It's okay to come out. It's fine. Hindi naman siya kasalanan. And ang maganda nga sa panahon ngayon, unti-unti nang tinatanggap ng ating lipunan na may mga ganitong pangyayari. Always ask for help. Huwag kayong mahihiya, huwag kayong matatakot na humingi ng tulong sa ibang tao. Next, take a break. Okay, so always take a break when you are having a long time of working and doing a lot of things. Always take a break. As I always share with other people, sabi ko nga, kung ang work mo is 3 hours straight, make sure you have 3 minutes na time to breathe out. Okay, 3 minutes na time to relax. Kasi yung 3 hours straight na yon na when you are working, it is already taking toll of your mental health and also your physical health. Kaya dito natin ipapasok yung salitang burnout, right? So, lalo na ngayon na we are already at home and we are working from home, always take a break. Also, make sure to set aside yung work, yung time ng work nyo, yung time ng study nyo, yung time ng school nyo, sa time ng pagpapahinga nyo. Kung ang working hours is only 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours, sige, exceeding to 10 hours, make sure after that working shift and working hours, that's the time to break. Right? So, hindi na pwede yung ay kasi may na-receive pa akong message coming from our work, I have to do this. No. Okay? So, stop working. You need a break. You need to breathe out. Kailangan naman nating mag-relax. Kailangan nating isipin na yung sarili natin is very important. Remember, kapag kayo nagkasakit, you cannot work properly. Mas mahihirapan tayo if we will not give ourselves the time to have a break. So make sure you have a 15 minutes interval as well while you are working. Kung kayang maisingit ang power nap, mas maganda. Always remember to take a break. Next, we have be the star. Always be the star. Make sure that you feel yourself, that you make yourself and help yourself to be felt that you are in love. So, kailangan kasi sa lahat ng ginagawa natin, sa mga bagay na meron tayo, dapat natin tatandaan na etong bagay na to is kaya kong gawin. Hindi natin pwedeng ikumpara yung sarili natin. Sabi nga nila, be the star. Hanapin natin kung saan tayo mas magaling. Hanapin natin kung ano yung mas makakabuti sa atin. Hanapin natin kung saan tayo mas magiging masaya, mas magiging komportable. Hanapin natin yung mga bagay na yun. Pwede yung, for example, nag-excel kayo sa painting, o kaya sa drawing, or sa singing. You can do all those things. Wala namang masama doon. As long as nararamdaman nyo sa sarili nyo na, ay, etong moment na to, akin to. Masaya ako sa ginagawa ko, mahal ko yung ginagawa ko. And the next one is accepting who you are. Of course, sabi ko nga, sa Be the Star, always remember na dapat hindi tayo nagko-compare. Of course, it's a part of acceptance as well. Do not compare yourself to others. Always love yourself. Always be forgiving. 'Di ba? Lagi nating tatandaan na kung kaya nga nating magpatawad ng ibang tao, paano pa yung sarili natin, di ba? So, kailangan nating isa-isip lagi na hindi ako magkakaroon ng tsansa na tanggapin o mahalin o bigyan ng importansya ang ibang tao kung hindi ko kayang gawin sa sarili ko. Lagi niyong uunahin yung sarili ko, yung sarili. Di ba? Gaya ng sinabi natin sa una, always check yourself. And it's part of the acceptance process. As you can see, all the taking cares and ways that we have here is progressing. Mag-start tayo sa sarili natin bago sa ibang tao. Huwag tayong magkukumpara na, ay, si ganito, mas magaling siya kumpara sa akin, hindi ko kayang gawin yan. No, dapat lagi mong tatandaan na each individual is different. No two individuals are alike. Ipinanganak tayo ng magkakaiba ang magulang, ipinanganak tayo ng magkakaiba ang talentong binigay, ipinanganak tayo ng magkakaiba ang galing, ipinanganak tayo ng magkakaiba ang pananaw sa buhay. Lagi natin yung tatandaan na iba tayo sa ibang tao. And the last one is being kind. Of course, when you already accept yourself, when you try to validate your feelings, when you try to keeping yourself being so loved, when you try to be the star of your own stage, of course, that's the time na kaya na nating maging kind sa ibang tao. Tandaan natin na kung ano yung pinagdadaanan natin, ay maaaring pinagdadaanan din nila, pero sa ibang paraan. Lagi nating kakamustahin ng ibang tao. Kung hindi man natin kayang kamustahin ng ibang tao, lagi nating tatandaan na anumang problema ang pinagdadaanan ng ibang tao, anuman ang gawain na hindi maganda na kanyang ginagawa, lagi nating ibigay yung sarili natin sa kanila. Lagi nating ibigay yung kamay na meron tayo. Let's try to extend our hands. Try to reach out. Kasi baka nangangailangan din sila ng tulong natin na hindi man lang nilang masabi. Diba? So always be kind because everyone matters, especially you matters. So ayun lamang po. I hope that you've learned in this kind of talk. I hope that you already gain your ways and you already have some ideas how to take care of yourself. So thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Teacher Camille, for a wonderful and informative presentation. Actually, I've learned a lot from you. No, so this actually a basic skills that we need right now in this midst of the pandemic. And I'm hoping teachers, just like you, were also knowledgeable in terms of promoting mental health. And also, I really hope that more students will become a mental health advocate, just like you. Di ba? Parang lahat nga can be a mental health advocate. So, for the second part of our program, I would like to call Ms. Bina Medrano to introduce our next mental health advocate speaker.
A pleasant morning to everyone. Our second speaker for today is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Polytechnic University of the Philippines. As of the moment, she is enrolled in De La Salle University as Master of Science in Psychology, major in Clinical Psychology. She is also one of the committee in the non-profit organization, the Scarecrow PH. This organization aims to stimulate the public consciousness on the issue and reintroduce conversation on the economic and livelihood impact of the current price trade in the Philippines. Additionally, she is an active OIC in the Youth for Mental Health Coalition since 2017. It is composed of student organizations and youth advocates that work together to elevate the Filipino youth's consciousness on mental health and end the stigma on mental illness. Aside from that, she was a former employee of PWU as a psychometrician. Currently, she is working as Learning Support Case Manager in De La Salle College of St. Benilde, who oversee the provision of holistic learning support service delivering first-class learning support to all learners in reducing barriers to learning and maximizing retention and success. Without further ado, let us all welcome Ms. Camille C. Milioga.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar this morning, organized by the PWU GCTO. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues in PWU GCTO for inviting me as your resource speaker for today. So our topic is Introduction to the Science of Happiness. So you may be wondering why science? What does science have to do with being happy? So I hope that as we go along, I'll be able to answer these questions. Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay, so as I mentioned, we'll be going through an introduction to the science of happiness. So the rest of the work will be done by you, of course. So I will be just giving some examples that can give you an idea of how science can be related to being happy. So just an overview. For this presentation, I'll be using the Perma Model. I'll be expounding it later. So what Perma Model is not, and then what do research say about the Perma Model, and applying Perma Model to our lives. So I already preempted, so there's already research mentioned. So that's the science part. But before we delve into the research process, let us know first what Perma Model is. So as an overview, Perma Model is an acronym for these 5 factors of well-being. So when we take care of our well-being, it can make us happy. Okay? So first, positive emotions. So the key phrase is pleasant emotions. Next, engagement, deep psychological connection. Relationships, keywords are positive and beneficial. So take this time to look into your relationships right now. And then meaning, pursuing things that are bigger than yourself. And then lastly, accomplishment. Keywords are progress or completion of goals or tasks that we set. So for the proponent of this model, it is Dr. Martin E.P. Seligman. So he developed the Perma Model as 5 measurable elements that make up well-being. So as you can see, 5 measurable elements. So dun pa lang, it's already speaking of something that is beyond just speaking to you right now. Okay, so there's already an involved study. So by study, we mean to gather data about these 5 measurable elements. So that's how it is related to being a science. So by gathering data about positive emotion, engagement, relationship, meaning, and accomplishment, we can therefore write our results after the data analysis, arrive into conclusion, make our recommendations, and of course, arrive into evidence-based ways of being happy. So we will not be discussing the formal research process. We will just be going through the 5 factors of well-being. So first, positive emotion. So positive emotion, it refers to hedonic or pleasant emotions. It could be from happiness, pleasure, or comfort. So whatever makes you happy, can be eating your favorite food, o mag-online shopping, or pumunta sa mall, although at this point we're restricted because of the pandemic. So anything that can give you positive emotions are included in this factor. So within our abilities and limits, it could be to increase our positive emotion about the past. For example, by cultivating gratitude and forgiveness. Our positive emotion about the present, so yung ngayon, by savoring physical pleasure and mindfulness. And our positive emotion about the future, by building hope and optimism. So if you remember earlier, Miss Sarah conducted a short breathing exercise to make us feel relaxed, di ba? So that's part of positive emotions. Hindi lang siya being happy, being elated, hindi lang siya ganon. So anything that can give us pleasure is included. And it also covers different time periods. So it can be from the past. So cultivating gratitude, paano ba tayo magpapasalamat sa mga nangyari sa atin? Bakit tayo nandito ngayon? And forgiveness. So if there are things that that happened na naging masama sa atin before, pero ngayon napatawad na natin, that's also part of positive emotion. And na-mention ni Teacher Camille kanina, we also need to forgive ourselves. So kasama tayo doon. It should be about us. It's not just about other people. So in the present, ayun nga, currently, where are we? Are we at home? Did we have breakfast na? Are you happy with your breakfast? So things like that. It doesn't have to be very big, such as taking vacation abroad or buying what used to be before. So makakapunta na ba tayo ng mall without worries na baka mahawa tayo ng virus? So things like that. Building optimism for ourselves. So next, engagement. As you can see, it's a deep psychological connection to an activity, a cause, or an organization. So deep psychological connections mean that we're being interested, engaged, and absorbed. So yung tipong hindi mo mapapansin yung oras. Na, for example, nag-start ka ngayon 9 a.m. and then lunch break na pala. So you didn't notice the time dahil dun sa ginagawa mo. So any activity, it can be work, it can be your hobbies, or just watching the TV, di ba? So that means we're being very interested in what we're doing at this point in time. So this is also described as being in the state of flow, where time seems to stop because of the optimal state of concentration we are in. So state of flow came from another positive psychologist, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. So you can read more about him after our talk. So state of flow is related to this engagement factor in the Perma Model. And he's also, by the way, he's also one of the co-founders of positive psychology. So you can see there have been a lot of studies about well-being and happiness. And Perma Model is just one model. So marami pang iba. But for this talk, I specifically selected this one to share with you. So next, relationships. So as social beings, humans can flourish from positive and beneficial relationships. So as you can see, positive and beneficial. So you can take this time as we go along. I hope you take determine whether the factors apply to you or kung nasa na ba kayo sa mga factors na to. So for example, for relationships, it doesn't have to be confined with a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. It can be to your family, siblings, to your pets if you have pets, to your friends, co-workers, or classmates, anyone that you're socially connected with. So positive ba to? Beneficial ba sa'yo or not? So only you can answer that, di ba? But that's what this factor is talking about. So positive and beneficial. Siyempre, kapag ganon, kapag positive and beneficial yung relationship, it can contribute to our well-being. And again, yung end result nga is being happy. So happiness, it's not just the emotion of being happy. Diba? So it goes beyond that. So experiencing life's ups and downs with others can help build a person's well-being and happiness. So of course, when you have a relationship with someone, hindi naman laging masaya. For example, in a classroom, diba, minsan may mag-aaway, si president papatahimikin yung klase. So that's part of the dynamics of the relationship. So when you experience life's up and downs, you'll be learning something from it. So hindi siya just because nangyari. So at the end of the day, you'll realize some things that you learned, some things that you discovered, or some things na dapat mo na palang tanggalin to your habits. So those are just examples. Again, it's up to you how you run the relationships that you're in. So as mentioned by Teacher Camille kanina, even if we do not connect to others, even if hindi natin sila kumustahin, we still have ourselves naman to cultivate then. So again, you're also in a relationship with yourself. So how do you take care of yourself? Diba? So next, meaning, sense of purpose or direction, and direction with one's life. So it can be derived from being a part of something bigger than yourself. So as mentioned, this goes beyond you. So it can be your family, your community, or the world. So it can be a cause that you're in, an organization that you're in. So kung mapapansin nyo, interrelated yung factors. So it can be related to engagement as well. So what gives you meaning? So again, we are unique individuals. What may be meaningful to you may not be meaningful to other people. Diba? So we can avoid stressing ourselves by comparing what's meaningful to us to others. Maybe we can inform them, diba? Kasi minsan that's where conflicts come out or come from. So in differences in meaningful things or differences in beliefs. So iba-iba talaga. So whatever gives meaning to you, doon ka lang mag-focus. You can make a reference of other people's meaningful things, but again, that's not you, that's them. And lastly, accomplishment. So progress or completion of our goals in life and is often very personal. So whatever makes a person feel accomplished may be different from another person, even if they are in the same family, group, or organization. So again, it's like meaning. So for example, for this week, nag-set ka na mag-exercise ka every day. So it's a simple task, di ba? Pero hindi lahat nakakagawa. So some may find it hard to wake up early, to do a simple jogging routine or workout routine. Or minsan, it can be as simple as eating breakfast. So accomplishments, big or small, matters. So later on, I'll be discussing some things that you can do to make you appreciate your own accomplishments. So there you go. That's the Perma model. So positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. So for this part, we will be discussing what Perma model is not. So there have been some researches that said na ay redundant naman yung Perma model, wala namang bago dyan. So as pointed out by Dr. Seligman himself, and our first item here, it is not a kind of well-being. So hindi mo siya pwede sabihin na, ay masaya ako according to the Perma model. Ay yung happiness ko ganitong level according to this model. So it's not something like that. So Perma model is made of building blocks of well-being that in turn can make us happy. So well-being, it's being mentioned since the start. We really need to take care of it. Kasi if we lack things that contribute to our positive well-being, baka hindi na tayo makabangon sa umaga, or baka hindi na tayo makakain, or baka ayaw na nating isipin kung anong mangyayari bukas. We cannot be optimistic anymore. So this model helps us identify kung ano yung mga bagay na pwede nating incorporate into our lives para maging masaya tayo. Okay? So again, Perma model is not a kind of well-being. So they are factors of well-being. It's just a specific model. So marami pang ibang model sa labas. You can research them later, but this is one specific model that has been studied since 2011. And then second, it is not carved into stone way to happiness. So while it provides a model we can follow, we need to take into consideration what works for us accordingly. So again, we're all unique individuals. What works for person A may not work for person B. So kung si ate masaya siya mag-online shopping, ikaw hindi ka masaya mag-online shopping, then so be it. It doesn't have to be very strict na kailangan sundin mo to, kailangan una positive emotion, tapos sunod engagement. Hindi siya ganon. So ano lang siya, it's just an acronym. So pwede mo siyang i-arrange in whatever order you want, kung gusto mo siya i-arrange. But yes, these are just building blocks and it's just a guide that we can follow. So at the end of the day, tayo pa rin yung masusunod. At the end of the day, we're going to ask ourselves, are you happy today? Did you take care of yourself today? So what did you work on? 'Diba? So, let's take our progress slowly. And if ever bumalik man tayo sa previous functioning, then we need to learn to forgive ourselves as well. So again, we are in a relationship with ourselves. And then lastly, it does not dwell on positive things only. So Perma Model is part of a bigger system that is unique to every individual, including the negative aspects of life. So take positive psychology for example. It doesn't just focus on positive things, di ba? So sometimes negative things happen to us and then we realize something good out of it. So some people may not be like that. Baka mag-dwell sila sa negatives of life kaysa sa positive. And that's okay. That's okay. Pero this model again does not dwell on positive things only. So for example, if someone is very caring to others, tapos turns out she has a history of neglect or abuse, 'di ba? So it's a negative aspect of her life. Pero she chose not to dwell on that. And maybe caring for other people makes her feel na practice sensitivity as well. Okay? So for the next part, what do research say about the PERMA model? So when I was informed about this topic, gusto daw evidence-based, ganyan. So I'm going to give some examples that are findings of research actually. Pero again, even if it's not evidence-based, according to your experience, it's fine. At the end of the day, you'll be the one to judge what makes you happy and what makes you not happy. So for the first one, Perma Model's relationship factor or element contributed much to the success of a music program among the participants of 2 music programs in Australia. So out of 128 statements related to the Perma Model, 56 described collaboration and partnership between students, teachers, and staff in schools. So, and local people in the community such as parents, local entrepreneurs, and musicians were repeatedly identified as a highly significant contributing factor in the success of the music program. So out of the 128 statements, 56 describe relationships. So that's half. Diba? So at this point, we can already get an idea how relationships are important to us. So hindi siya between lovers, hindi siya between husband and wife, but between students, teachers, and staff in schools. So relationships go beyond that. And of course, people in the community. So maaring yung kapitbahay nyo or yung barangay officials. So all of them are part of the community. And of course, we have a relationship with them, although it may be indirect. Diba? So this also shows how Perma Model can be applicable even to children. So hindi lang siya for adults. It goes beyond the age brackets. So next, a study among college students with disabilities found that Perma Model elements can buff the negative effect of disability on their subjective well-being, such as weaker academic preparation, inadequate independent living skills, poorer social skills, lower self-efficacy, and facing stigma because of their condition. So again, even to college students with disabilities, Perma Model can be applied. So you can already get an idea that it is also inclusive. So Perma Model goes beyond just the normal people. It can also include those with disabilities. So the disabilities mentioned in this study include ADHD and autism spectrum disorder. So, ayun. And then lastly, culturally, Perma Model was consistent with the definition of happiness as described by the participants in the UAE. So this is UAE. I'm actually looking for a study here in the Philippines. There's just one thesis that studied about Perma Model and the effect of and its effect on elementary students and high school students. So if you're someone who's still thinking about the thesis topic that you want to do, you might want to delve into this. You might want to study about this, how it is manifested here in the Philippines. But for the participants in the UAE, its 5 elements can be helpful in developing a vision for the creation of an environment where individuals, families, and communities can collectively develop and use their strengths towards a state of flourishing. So state of flourishing, ito yung masaya, yung maunlad yung tao. Parang it may be into career, it may be financial, or just being contented with life. So that's what we're all aiming, diba? How we can all flourish in our own definitions. So Perma Model is inclusive. It can go beyond age brackets, and it is also seemingly culturally applicable, diba? So again, if you want, you can conduct a study using this model here in the Philippines para meron din tayong, alam din natin what is Perma Model in the culture of the Filipinos. So, ayan, now that we know what Perma Model is, again, positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment, how do we apply it naman to our lives? So how can we have a model to determine that I think I'm happy, I think I'm doing well. So, diba? It's a guide that we can use to determine if we are having a good well-being or at least feeling happy with our lives, especially now that we are still facing the pandemic. So, where do we go from here? So, for this part, I included some findings from the researchers na tingin nila ito yung applicable sa kanila when it comes to these factors. So for the first one, these are all participants from the UAE study. So as you can see, first, buying what I want when I'm sad. I think we can all relate to this, especially now na hindi tayo makalabas. So online shopping, abang-abang ng mga sales sa Shopee, ganyan. So yeah, this can definitely give us positive emotions. And it is specified when I'm sad. So pag malungkot siya, bibili siya kung anong gusto niya. So hindi na specified kung ano man yon. It can be ice cream, it can be spicy noodles, it can be hamburger, or it can be skincare, di ba? So kayo, you may have experienced this before, or you may still be doing this now. So no worries, we're not here to judge you. And then next, saying different jokes, enjoying new friends, male 18. So again, from time to time, we connect with others. So maybe pwede naman mag-joke kahit nag-chat, or maybe pag nag-uusap, video call, or voice call. So humor is definitely something that can give us positive emotions. Then next, watching my favorite TV show. So ayun, magbabrowse ka lang sa Facebook feed mo, kunwari, ang dami-daming mga memes about this show, about this K-drama, or American TV series, di ba? So, of course, andun yung investment mo sa panonood. So, next episode, aabangan mo, magbabasa ka ng mga articles about it, mag-speculate ka about the next events. So, things like that. And then, remembering wonderful days. So, again, positive emotions can also apply to the past. So siguro iniisip mo when's the last time na nakalabas ka without worrying about the COVID pandemic, or when's the last time na nakain mo yung favorite food mo, di ba? So although pwede naman ipa-deliver ngayon, pero still there are some parts na gusto mo nandun ka sa labas, or maybe nandun ka mismo sa restaurant. So things like that. So these are just examples of things that can give us positive emotions. So I hope that you're also taking time to determine, to ask yourself, what gives me positive emotions? Kasi some of these may not be applicable to you as well. So next, for engagement, according to Blake 2020, find your flow activity and aim for experiencing this state at least 3 times per week. So ano yung activity na lumilipas ang oras na hindi mo napapansin? It can be playing games, it can be reading, writing poems, painting, Well, of course, for students, we have online classes, we have asynchronous classes, di ba? So, minsan we're to engage in our requirements or in this subject na gustong-gusto natin na hindi natin napansin na ay gabi na pala or ay lunch na pala. So, you can determine your own flow activity and maybe aim for experiencing this state at least 3 times per week. So baka medyo mabigat siya. It doesn't have to be 3 times at first, maybe once a week will do. Whatever is very applicable to your schedule right now. So this can be a good conversation, a work task, playing musical instrument, reading a book, writing, building furniture, fixing a bike, gardening, sports training, or performance. So if you have a specific hobby na sobrang manual, for example, building furniture, maybe you're into carving or you're into stitching or painting, ganyan. So yeah, maybe you can find time to at least engage in it 3 times per week or once per week, whatever's applicable for you. So this is also mentioned by Teacher Camille, no, in the take a break. So maybe you can align it to taking a break. Magbe-break muna ako. So ito muna gagawin ko. So that's also being engaged to what you are doing. So just that deep psychological connection. Hindi lang siya yung basta gagawin mo lang. Ay kasi naka-schedule to na maganto ako. So ganito na lang. So it's not really like that. It goes beyond that. Kailangan hindi mo mapapansin yung oras. That means nag-enjoy ka, you're very absorbed, you're very interested in what you're doing. So next, relationships. I cannot really advocate for face-to-face gatherings given that we still have pandemic. It's really a huge risk for us to go out and meet someone. But again, we can still spend more time with our loved ones virtually. So kung magkakasama kayo sa bahay, that's okay, di ba? Pero for some of us who may not have good relationships with their family in the house, ayun, maybe we can find some time to spend some moments with our friends. It can be via Messenger or Viber call or sa Discord, or maybe if you have gaming teams, maglaro kayo together, ganyan. So we need to find time so that we can also improve our relationship with others. So it doesn't have to be face-to-face. Again, it can be virtual. And then, well, the second is schedule a get-together. Again, it may not be doable now, but in the future, di ba, who knows? Maybe in the last quarter, we'll be able to schedule a get-together without worrying about the virus. So this is also part of having positive emotions. So being optimistic about the remaining events of this year. And then lastly, appreciate yourself. So again, you're in a relationship with yourself. So siguro, you're focusing too much on other people na wala na natitira sa'yo. So it may be at work, it may be in a romantic relationship, it may be looking after someone in your family, 'di ba? So you also need to look after yourself. So hindi lang dapat sila, ikaw din. Parang we need to determine the level of relationship we have with ourselves. So kilala mo pa ba ang sarili mo? So things like that. How well do you know yourself? So when's the last time na naging masaya ka? When's the last time na umiyak ka? So these things, we need to be able to determine this. Kasi hindi naman ito masasagot ng iba sa atin. 'Di ba? So tayo lang makakasagot ng mga questions na 'yon. So again, appreciate yourself as you are. You may not be into the progress that you want right now, but some of those things naman are out of your control. For example, if you're delayed in your master's millionaire, but then you can't because it's pandemic, so it's out of our control. So we need to forgive ourselves for that. Okay? So next, meaning.
Yeah, while waiting for Miss Camille, so nagkaroon lang ng internet connection difficulty, no? So this is an important part of our life ngayon to find meaning. 'Di ba parang in simple ways talaga makakahanap tayo ng meaning in our life. 'Di ba? I'm sure parang with this because of this pandemic, I'm sure you find your own meaning in life. Na ako nga parang I was reflecting also with the questions, para kanino ba tayo bumabangon? So parang ako parang kanina I was listening to the speaker, parang ang sagot one of my reason pala is to serve and help our students to find their own meaning and happiness. I'm sure all of us may iba't iba tayong uh, meaning or purpose in life, no? So kung madelay man tayo in whatever things that we do, I think there's a purpose, there's a reason, di ba? Parang matuto lang tayo maging patience enough lang tayo na harapin yung buhay natin. Miss Camille? So again, thank you so much sa mga nandito. Nandito sa Facebook page and dito sa Hi, Miss Camille.
Ayan. Okay.
Yeah.
For that.
yeah. That's okay. You may continue.
Okay, let's continue. Okay. Sige, I'll just start with the achievement part. This is what I mentioned earlier. Na in this part, I'll be mentioning some things that can help you determine what you already achieved. So for our first item, write a list of what you have already achieved in life in the last 10 years or in the last month. So it can be as simple as, although it's not simple, no? For example, you graduated. So it's actually a hard work, di ba? So, ayun. It can be as simple as waking up to eat breakfast. Again, I've been mentioning breakfast since earlier kasi it's really something important for us, especially for those who are working from home. And then second, pursue accomplishment even when it does not necessarily lead to positive emotion, meaning, or relationships. So even if it's something that's just for yourself, di ba? Yung sa'yo lang. So even if other people does not recognize that you did this, you still have to pursue accomplishment. So again, it can be as simple as losing weight. It can be as simple as paying for your bills, di ba? So not everyone can actually achieve what you can achieve. So again, we're all unique individuals naman. And then lastly, acknowledge your goals and sense of accomplishment. So we have goals, di ba? So even if other people may not, again, even if other people doesn't recognize you for that, you have to recognize your own accomplishment. So kahit hindi nila i-announce na ay si ganito nanalo sa contest or nakakuha ka ng 95 in your class or Dean's Lister ka. So you need to acknowledge that sense of accomplishment even if other people may not recognize your own efforts. So right now, how do you define your happiness? So do you define it materially? Do you define it socially? So only you can answer that question. So the Perma Model provides you a guideline that we can follow in order to be happy and in order to take care of our well-being. So from Seligman, building happiness is not primarily a psychometric issue, even though measuring happiness is in large part a psychometric issue. So we mentioned earlier that the science of happiness includes research, data gathering, writing out our conclusion, recommendation. So we cannot really measure something if we haven't built it, di ba? So, paano natin malalaman na happy pala lahat kung or happy itong population na to if they're not doing something to be happy? So, we shouldn't focus too much on measuring, on gauging the standards of others and applying it to ourselves. So, we should always start with ourselves muna. So before we end, I'll be leaving you a few words from Martin Seligman. So the aim of positive psychology is to catalyze a change in psychology from a preoccupation only with repairing the worst things in life to also building the best qualities in life. So there's a part na gusto naman natin mag-move from the psychopathology, from the diagnosis, from the stigma. So there's more to psychology. It's not just the depression, anxiety, personality disorders part. There's also positive psychology. And that's focusing on building the best qualities that we can have in this life. Thank you, everyone.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Camille. And I'm happy to see you again after a long time. No? So I really learned a lot and realized because of this presentation. And isa nga din sa na-realize ko talaga, parang importante talaga na magkaroon tayo ng good positive relation with ourselves talaga. Lalo na ngayong pandemic talagang there's a lot of things that happening and we need to be positive enough. So I'm sure I'm sure that our students learn a lot from this seminar, and I hope they will apply this into their daily lives. So at this juncture, we will go ahead and take some time for questions. Please be sure to type your questions into the comment sections. Okay. Okay, for question number 1, for Teacher Camille. Teacher Camille,
Yes.
what can we do to prevent the infodemic or information overload in this information age?
Okay, so syempre, my answer will be disengage yourself first in the social media platform. Of course, kailangan natin yung gawin. We have to take a break. Kahit sabihin natin na it's the age and it's the era of technology. You have a choice to disengage yourself. Unless you wanted to see talaga na kung anong nangyayari sa atin ngayon, it depends on you. Pero sa pagkakaroon ng infodemic, ang best way natin is tanggalin natin yung connection muna natin sa social media. And that is what I usually do. Lalo na kung alam kong pagod na ako na magbasa. So there's a time na I make sure I turn off my phone, nagpapahinga din yung laptop ko,
Yes.
or nagpapahinga yung mga devices ko para ako mismo sa sarili ko na I'm trying to disconnect myself kasi nakakapagod nga naman at nakakabombard nga naman na makita na ganito yung nangyayari sa ating social media. So ngayon, it's your choice if you want to disengage or not. So yun lang yung question doon.
Yeah. Thank you so much. For another question, Teacher Camille, how can I help a friend in need, especially in these trying times? Can you promote any mental health services?
Yeah, actually that's a good question. How can you help? Actually yung in a simple gesture, pero kung ang ating friend is talagang in need of professional help, so there are many hotlines na open. You can look at in our group kung saan kami belong ni Miss Camille. This is Youth for Mental Health Coalition, and we are posting some of the services that are free. Free siya para sa lahat. So open siya. There are some of other organizations that they are providing counseling, they are providing seminars with a medical practitioner. So pwede yun. You can check our site as well and our Facebook page. So if you message them, don't worry, may sasagot at may sasagot sa inyo.
Yes. So for Miss Camille, thank you so much, Teacher Camille. No, so for Miss Camille, both Miss Camille kasi, no? So pero kaya I'm so confused, pero Miss Camille? So while
Hello.
waiting, yeah. So one question here, how can I best utilize the science behind happiness?
Ayan. Okay, that's actually a good question, no? Pero for some reason, I thought about research. Siyempre, we will go beyond research. So again, Perma Model gave us a guide that we can follow.
Yes.
So wala naman siyang particular order. It's just an acronym. So maybe it's just in my personal opinion, maybe you can start listing out each factor. So positive emotion, engagement, relationship, meaning, accomplishment, and then determine kung nasan ka na doon. So parang where am I at this point? So sa positive emotions, how do I make myself feel comfortable? How do I make myself feel happy? What do I do, 'di ba? As I mentioned, if eating burgers every day make you happy, then write it down. It doesn't have to be very big na na tipong nagbabakasyon ka buwan-buwan. So, syempre at this point parang it's very privileged kung nangyayari sa inyo. But again, if it does happen to you, then write it down. So identify mo muna. Identify mo what makes you or where are you in these factors. So sa engagement, ano yung mga ginagawa mo to be fully interested, or ano yung relationship status mo with your family, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend kung meron, friends, and then colleagues, workmates, di ba? Kasi I am emphasizing on the relationships a bit kasi nowadays, pag sinabi mong relationship, jowa agad.
Oh yeah, tama.
It goes beyond that, di ba? So, and then meaning. So, what gives you meaning? So, para sa'yo, parang yung patalastas ng Nescafe, no? Sorry, may mention ng brand. Parang para kanino ka bumabangon. It can be as simple as that, na why do you wake up every day? Why do you go to work every day? Why do you study? So there has to be a reason behind it. So kung hindi mo pa siya ma-determine ngayon, maybe you need some alone time, mag-reflect ka, ganyan, what gives you meaning. And then lastly, accomplishment. Again, it can be as simple as making your own coffee, di ba?
Yes.
Or umattend ka ng seminar, umattend ka today. It's an accomplishment kasi ang aga ng ating webinar today. So things like that. You need to identify first. Tapos from there, ano na yung gusto mong mapuntahan or ano na yung gusto mong ma-achieve. So interconnected kasi siya. So yun, identify mo muna, then make your course of action.
Yes.
So, happy ka na ba dito or gusto mo pang mas bongga or something like that. Ayan. Thank you, Sir Drew.
Yeah, and hindi naman expensive maging happy, no? In doing small things talaga, talagang nakakatulong para kahit pa magkaroon maiis yung mga negativity in our life. So another question, Miss Camille.
Yeah.
How can you relate Perma Model to toxic positivity? Actually, lagi ko narinig tong term na to ngayong pandemic.
Oo. No? Actually, no, I think nag-peak yan last year, parang medyo nabuhay siya along with the energy vampires. So toxic positivity, yun yung ano ka lang, happy ka lang, ganon, 'di ba? So you don't focus on the negative things, ay mo makarinig niyan, ganyan. Even if it's already really affecting you. Kasi toxic positivity can disable your reality perception na hindi ako pwede makakita ng negative. Hindi ako pwedeng kailangan happy lang. So, this can be very problematic. For example, if someone confided in you na, yun nga, nalulungkot ako kasi ganito yung nangyari, ganyan. So, you may appear as very insensitive kapag sinabi mo na, okay lang yan. Ano yan? Mawawala rin yan. Something like that. You may be very, you may be invalidating the person kung ano yung nararamdaman niya kasi gusto mo nga happy ka lang. So I think toxic positivity can be related to Perma Model, especially in relationships and meaning, 'di ba? Yeah. So kasi kung feeling mo meaningful sa iyo na maging positive ka lang, maging happy ka lang, you don't notice you don't weigh the effect of negative things in
Yeah.
life. So there's a problem with that. There's a problem with your perception or reality testing na ay kapag naging malungkot ako, hindi ko kakayanin, kailangan masaya lang. So 'di ba, it seems to be a very stressful situation to be in kasi that means na, for example, you experience something so negative na light lang naman for other people, pero because you're always emphasizing on the positive things, parang ang bigat-bigat niya sa'yo na dapat hindi naman. Diba?
Okay. Yeah.
So toxic positivity might be related to meaning and then relationship. So you need to look into those factors in your life para alam mo kung anong pwede nating gawin or pwede mo to solve that.
Actually, there's also one question din dito sa Facebook Live in connection with the question, no? Is there a line, or should we draw a line between toxic positivity and teaching of positive psychology? Yeah, in connection
Okay.
with that.
So yeah, that's actually a good question. So again, I mentioned earlier na Perma Model or positive psychology is not only about the positive things. So positive psychology also acknowledges the negative things in life.
Yes.
So again, yun nga, maybe itong cheerful person na to, may pinagdaanan siya before, kaya siya naging ganyan. Or maybe itong attitude na to nanggaling sa isang negative event from the past. Parang ganun. So the line, yes, I think the line should be drawn. It should be defined na ang positive psychology, ang Perma Model is not toxic positivity. Diba? So, for example, nag-perform ka. For example, right now, I'm speaking. So, ano nangyari sa akin? How do I prepared for this? So, for example, today, medyo mabagal yung Wi-Fi. It's a negative aspect. Kanina nung nawala ako, it was really, nawala yung green light. So, na-disconnect yata ako. So, it's actually a negative aspect na maaring naka-affect sa akin. And maybe, kung nag-continue yung negative connection ng Wi-Fi, I may not be able to be here. But again, you have to recognize the negative things in life. Ano lang, recognize mo lang na, okay, nangyari to sa akin. Now, what do I want to do about this? So, it's being mindful, and it's actually, it's also taking action. Diba?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there definitely needs to be a line drawn between teaching positive psychology and toxic positivity is a topic on its own. So, pwede na siya i-discuss doon.
Yeah. We also consider this toxic positivity as a next part of our series kasi marami naman series ang itong aming webinar. So we also, kasi parang mukhang interesado yung mga students natin, no? Because of this toxic positivity topic, no? So we will also consider this topic for the future.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much. Actually, this question came from Mr. Jeremiah Adriano. So I hope nasagot ba?
Hello, Sir Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. Yeah.
Yeah. He's my colleague in Binil. Shout out po sa mga katrabaho ko.
Yes, hi po. Hi po
Good morning po.
So for both of you, may question dito. Actually, this is very timely, no? How can be a mental health advocate? Paano ba maging isang mental health advocate? Di ba? Kasi, di ba, parang si teacher kami, siya ay teacher. Tapos, paano ba tayo magiging mental health advocate kahit hindi tayo nasa field ng mental health? Teacher Camille and Miss Camille.
Sige. How to become a mental health advocate? Actually, it takes parang a strong heart to be a mental health advocate. Parang kailangan kasi once you grab that opportunity na nasa harap mo na I wanted to become a mental health advocate, dapat yung compassion mo to that advocacy is aligned din sa kung ano yung pinaglalaban mo. So, dapat ganun siya. It's not only that you are joining in the group for the sake na, ay, grupo ako nito, but you have to make sure na you are fighting with something. So for us, like us, how to become a mental health advocate, madaling sumali. Ang question is, nasaan yung commitment mo doon?
Yeah.
Ano yung mga kaya mong services na ibigay, lalo na kung halimbawang kailangan na kailangan. For example, in our group that we are having, it's not all about that, oh, you join this group, dito ka. No,
Yes.
we are having trainings, we are having also our own seminars na attendan namin. We are really speaking to other people and talagang sinishare namin kung ano yung advocacy namin kahit negative na yung maging impact sa amin. So, it takes a brave heart. Sabi nga, it takes courage just to be a mental health advocate. At dapat, once na pinasok mo yon, ready ka sa kung ano man yung ibabato sa'yo ng ibang tao. Kasi sa usapin nga ng mental health, napakahirap ibigay sa Pilipinas eh. Right? So we are torn between religion and science. So ang hirap. So yun lang is yung sagot ko.
Yeah, I'm sure naman kasi everyone can be a mental health advocate, most especially ngayon, no, para mawala yung stigma in terms of the mental health, no. So in their own ways, through research or joining groups, just like your group nga, no, Teacher Camille. I hope makasali din ako sa group nyo balang araw. So there's another question through Facebook Live from Pegoro Reg. Paano po yung mga working students na nag-work from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then after work, online class na naman po sa umaga. So I think parang management ata yung isa sa concern. Paano yata niya i-manage? Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, you have to make sure na may break ka. Kung ang work mo is straight, for example 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. ang work mo, so I guess it's call center, no? So it's really burnout or something na night shift ka, graveyard shift or any kind of work. Make sure that you have 15 minutes interval of break kasi
Yes.
it's in science kasi our brain is parang hindi talaga siya ginawa, yung brain natin and yung katawan natin, to work sa gabi. Okay? We function as a person sa umaga talaga. We are used to work in the morning, not in the evening shift. Kahit sa ang science mo siya mabasa, or if you look at the other researches and journal, we are not made in that time aspect. So kailangan make sure you have a 15 minutes break interval. Ano yung break mo nun? Of course, relax, magre-relax ka or listen to music, or kung kaya mong kumain, 15 minutes interval, go ahead. Ibigay mo sa sarili mo. It's not all about naman na kapag kailangan mong matulog, when we say rest, tulog agad. No, we cannot, at some point in our work, especially if you're working in a call center, mahirap siyang gawin.
Yeah.
But you make sure na when you have a break, you disconnect yourself sa work na meron ka. For that, such a long period of time, a short period of time rather, yung 15 minutes na yun, ang laking ginhawa na sa atin nun. Kasi yun talaga yung function ng ating mind and ating body as a system.
Yeah. Thank you so much for wonderful answer. No? Talagang ang pinaka-importante talaga, be kind to your mind. So for last question from FB Live, actually everyone can answer. Parang interesting to eh. What if all your environment gave you stress? Siyempre, di ba, parang lagi tayo nasa bahay or di ba, hindi tayo makalabas. So what if all your environment gave you stress? From Lay Kong Ug.
So actually, Miss Camille, it's a normal kasi sabi ko nga, stresses in life are normal. It depends on how will you accept it or how will you perceive that kind of stress. But ang sabi niya dyan kasi is, paano kung lahat ng environment mo is nagbibigay ng stress? Actually, every day, maraming stress talaga. It's just the thing that they are minor or hindi natin napapansin. For example, before I start, as you can see, I'm already having a hard time to navigate all the things that I have here. So naghang, actually, before I start, naghang talaga yung laptop ko. So sabi ko, okay, this is a minor stress that that dapat gawan ko ng paraan. You will not be able to avoid those stresses that we have because it's normal in our lives. Every day na may stress tayo. Ang kailangan lang natin is to cope and to learn how to manage it on our own. Unless kung yung stress sa life na yun is kailangan mo na talaga ng help ng ibang tao. So,
So, kung talagang parang yung stress, parang sa tingin mo, kailangan na ng professional help, no? So, kailangan pumunta rin. Here in the guidance office, we offer counseling services and sort of assistance, no? And sort of parang referral to other specialists para ma-address kung sobrang stressful na talaga yung environment or talagang hindi mo na kaya with yourself, no? For Doc Kiro, we will post this pre-recorded video through our Facebook page. Then you can share and like our page para sa more update ng aming activity. And this is not actually the end of actually this is the start of our webinar series. So we will have a lot of topics na pwede namin i-discuss na pwedeng I'm sure you have a lot of questions. So pwede nyo i-reserve yung mga questions na yun. We will invite different speakers for the future webinar. So it looks like we've covered a lot of covered all of our questions. Again, thank you so much for wonderful presentation, Teacher Camille and Miss Camille. So at this moment, please make sure to answer our evaluation form for e-certificates and kindly look for the Google link form. And you may use the QR code just in case. No? So at this juncture, I would like to present the Certificate of Appreciation to Miss Camille Huliganga and Miss Camille Milioga for being a resource speaker during the webinar, entitled #PW Mind Your Health, Gearing Towards a Better Normal Series, a Transformative Learning System with the topic CAMustahan, taking care of mental health in the midst of pandemic, and for the topic of the science of happiness. Thank you so much for the both speakers. We really appreciate your unusual support to us and to our students. So, reminder lang sa mga student, please, you may now click the Google Form link or use the QR code for the evaluation form for the e-certificates. And through Facebook, you can also click the Google Form link. Okay? So, to give us a wrap-up for today, let's all have Miss Maricel Chosas for the closing remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that all of you have had this pretty hung-up feeling in this short webinar. Well, at least we have a grasp of how we take care of ourselves in the midst of the pandemic, proven by science-based aspect that imparted to us by our guest speakers on how to be happy out of certain circumstances. Speaking of pretty bitin or hang-up feeling, do not worry. This is a webinar series focused primarily to find our emotional health, and topics are carefully filtered to developmentally step-by-step process towards reaching a more mentally healthy individual. Finally, on behalf of the GCTO team, I would like to express my appreciation to all the attendees, participants of all their guest speakers for taking time out of your busy duties to attend the webinar. I would like to close my remark and officially announce the end of the first year's #PW Mind Your Health. Wishing the future prosperity of all the participating academic body. Thank you for all your support. God bless.
That's it for today. Thank you so much, Michelle. So we appreciate you being here, and we would like to thank everyone who made this seminar series possible. Thanks again for joining us today. For more GCTO updates, kindly like our official Facebook page And sa mga hahabol sa evaluation form, kindly click the form and you may answer the link now. Again, I am Andrew Kevin Nicanor, and see you next time, and God bless us all. Please join us with our PW hymn. Bye, guys.